Welcome to Enlivened Earth, Deep Ecological Activism, my reflections on over 20 years of experience building environmental movements, organizations, and as an organizational leader working with emotional intelligence and self-organizing systems. I hope you'll enjoy this episode. In this episode, we will talk about gratitude and how that is one of the most essential steps into a more regenerative and life-sustaining world. And welcome to a new episode of Enlivened Earth, Deep Ecological Activism. I'm currently watching outside of my window, and the first snow here has fallen for this year. Still pretty warm. I'm nestled inside my tiny home, drinking my morning tea, and my cat is currently trying to be a part of this little podcast. Hey there. So today I woke up and opened the windows and the world was white, and for the first time there was this clearness in the air and the dry, fresh air here in the forest close to the city of Oslo, Norway. Today what came to me was to start a small journey with you, the listener. And wherever you are, I can invite you to just notice what's going on outside the window, the textures, if it's a city landscape or a natural landscape, if it's a place without windows even. Just noticing what's going on outside of you. Just paying attention to the details, the colors, noticing a bit more of the beauty that you can find around you. And just being thankful or resting a moment in that feeling of thankfulness for what you have with yourself right now. I have with me here, of course, my co-host, Maya the cat. I've got some wonderful plants and flowers that keep me company here in the cold winter nights. And outside there is a stillness and still a bustling life that is starting to be filled with a clear whiteness of snow, and there are some hints of golden color as the sun is slowly starting to rise above the treetops. I'm well planted on the ground, and there is a fire burning in the background. So I'm really thankful this morning that I can sit down and share some thoughts and a small journey with you. And I'm just letting myself feel this gratitude, letting that kind of resource me into the moment, knowing that what I have with me right here, right now, it's not so bad. I'm very lucky to have a grounding, to have a warm home, and to have a relevantly peaceful place where I can develop and work from, spending every day imagining and living a smaller and a bit more beautiful world inside of myself and in the actions that I take and the way that I work. Throughout the past year, a lot of my needs and wants have gone literally out the window, and I live a very simple life where I just notice more of that beauty that I have available around me all the time. So, again, I can invite you to just take a moment and sit with those small things, those small skills, those enlivening thoughts, the books that you've read, the impressions you have received, um, the small things that you have in your life right now that nourish you and resource you. Might be children, might be a pet, might be a loved one, might be a close-knit family or community. Just extending some gratitude to those around you that support you. Again, for me, it's mostly the wildness of the trees outside and the raspberry bushes that are now hanging low and preparing for another season of juicy adventure in the coming summer. And right now, preparing and resting and regaining some of that energy. Yeah, somebody's pulling on my sweater here. Hey, little guy. Oh, yeah. So, gratitude really opens us up to the world around us and opens us up to the here and now in a way that I've not really noticed anything else does. Gratitude to the more than human world, gratitude to other people, even though they all have their flaws, as do I, opens us up to become more generous and to start the day with more generosity towards ourselves and others. Oh, that was a good point. Easy to forget. Being grateful of the skills that you might have with you right now. For myself, I'm grateful for the courage to actually talk to you through this microphone right now and to open up to wherever this podcast might end. And I wonder what skills and what possibilities do you see in your life where you feel deeply grateful? I can invite you to just let those images or feelings or tastes or flavors appear in front of you. Where is my ground? Where is my belonging? Oh, somebody hasn't eaten today. Well, I'm grateful for the food that I will have available after this podcast. Just taking a moment to feel that feeling that might be arising in my body and just rest a little bit in my emotional landscape, noticing where that feeling of gratitude might be originating from, where that feeling is located in my body. might have in my hands, my feet, my heart. So even if I have a horrible day and everything is not going exactly as I had hoped for, as it always is, especially when opening up my social media accounts or opening up to what's happening and going on in our world, I can still take my time to relax into my body and to open up and calm my nervous system. And even though I have a cat that's pulling and tugging for attention, I can still be grateful for that and be there with that cat and still not feel or not be overwhelmed by negative emotions and also make space for them. I'm also grateful for being able to um, feel more of the pain and feel more of the sadness in these times. It's an exhilarating elixir that um, gives room for more gratitude and more liveliness and more pull and push into one or more directions. So, again, when I open to what I'm really grateful for and I um, swim in that generosity that brings with us, I'm also becoming more aware of what are the things that I'm going to lose and um, what might not be there in the future for me. And that is a very natural process to also become aware of what do I have right now and what do I stand to lose in this world. So there's nothing so much scary about that. It's just something that comes with that generosity and that openness, that feeling of belonging. And by, again, swimming in that generosity, I allow myself to make good compost out of all those stressors and feelings of inequality, in what is it called? And all those feelings of sadness, it might be anger, and the places where I'm not enough, and I can carefully mix them together with more gratitude and allow myself to feel more, be more, and hear more, and be there more for the people that need me the most here. We really need to be there for each other in these times and to take the moment to really deeply experience each other and make space for um, deeply listening to each other about how our lives are progressing, our role in the world is being challenged, and our identities are being formed by a very fateful time that we might find us in. Opening up to each other, being there, being generous with our skills is something that I've experienced pulls me into the direction of action. That comes with a realization that nothing that I have with me um, amounts to the story of the self made man. everything comes from somewhere else. The things that I'm grateful for about myself come from my parents, come from my lineage. My food comes from sweet collaboration with nature. And I take steps every day to find food that and ways of living that create a reciprocity with nature and that allow me to, with larger detail, see what I'm consuming and what I'm turning into myself. It's just with any relationship, everything is in relationship to something else. So the food I eat comes from a weather system, a life system, a rain system that is totally outside of my control. My house and the building materials come from nature and the hard work of many laborers. The bread that I eat goes through the hands of many bakers and once started again as corn blowing in the wind, being watered by rain. I think it was Thich Nhat Hanh who pointed out that a piece of writing on a paper was and is actually a cloud. Without the cloud, there would be no rain. Without the rain, there would be no tree. Without the tree, there would be no paper that could hold the writing that I'm reading at the moment. So this interconnection and an opening up to the generosity that I feel for being part of a living earth is something that I try to weave into my work as an activist and also the work that I do as a grief facilitator and the work that I pull into when I work with organizations and companies. There is no such thing as a closed system, no such thing as a vacuum. So everything that we do, if it's a company, if it's a project we're working on, if it's our bodies in ourselves, I can be grateful for the little cells that are working so hard together to keep me alive and to shape me on this path of life. And with that in mind, I'm just going to have to take a short break and take care of Mrs. Cat. So a short cat break, and I'll be right back. So by reconnecting to my roots and how I envision and how I feel that my organization, my personal contribution to the world, my interaction with other people belongs to the world, I can be more aware. I can start to be more conscious about the decisions that I, as a leader, as an activist, as a human being, take on this planet. Because the parts that of me that I don't want to notice, the parts that I don't care for, and that might be the difficult parts most of all, are the ones that shape my actions and my contribution on a day-to-day basis. This is the glue that keeps organizations running. Thankfulness and deep gratitude towards each other and an openness to let ourselves be informed by the world around us through that generosity that we feel with gratitude is what I think is so essential in how the world, the natural world especially, works to uphold and to stabilize the climate that we are in. Even though it might be as visible, I can imagine myself looking again now outside the window, noticing the trees that are grateful for the air that I breathe out, nourishing them, and how they are grateful for the soil and the sky, and how they, in their openness, collaborate in wildness with other parts of this landscape that I'm peering into and am a part of. So gratitude really makes us feel and glue together our belonging as groups, communities, as organizations, as activists especially, meeting the difficulties of our time with a healthy helping of gratitude allows us to still stay involved, to still stay a part of our defense mechanism, our planetary regeneration. And it might not come as easy as it seems in the beginning, but there is no standard or expectation from my side of how much one should imply this in one's life. But the essential point is to just be there, show up, and to involve oneself in more gratefulness. Waking up, maybe starting a routine every day to notice the small and large things that contribute to our well-being, and most importantly, that contribute to our ability to participate and to be alive, and our ability to also feel all these sensations and emotions that make up our very wild self, our wild child. So again, gratitude reconnects us to everything that we have around us. It engages us more in our imminent surroundings. It brings us back to the here and now and stabilizes us. So when caught in the midst of thought or disassociation of the pain of the world, we can find the grounding that we have with us all the time. And it also works magically against our drive to just be quiet or to just accept things as they are without taking action. Being grateful for the things that we have makes us want to protect them, to nourish them, to care for them in a deeper sense than normally is possible when rushing from meeting to meeting or writing email on email or posting podcast on podcast and working with others. It's easy to lose track of where am I right now? Where do I need to go from here? Where can I flower and flourish even in the midst of uncertainty and chaos? Where is it that I can take the next step? Again, I'm going to point to the journey of 1,000 miles begins right under our feet, as mentioned in the Tao Te Ching. So this journey, it doesn't just start under our feet. It starts within ourselves, within our path of life where we are right now, and all the stories and ancestors that have led us to this moment in time. Also, just being grateful for being here and knowing that there is nowhere else we could be right now that is more important. And by taking that commitment and working on that commitment every day is something that seems as a very small contribution when the world's problems are so big. But by again opening my system with generosity, I start to notice around myself all the beautiful things that are happening at the same time as I'm taking these small steps for man, a huge step for mankind. Again, millions of people and maybe billions of people are in these times waking up to the calamity that we find ourselves in. Some are way ahead and already preparing for a very different world tomorrow. And by just being available and opening to the system's view of life, that everything doesn't exist in a vacuum, I automatically let myself be guided into the direction that I need to go with the resources that I have with me right now and the pathways that might lead to a more regenerative, more just world. It's so easy to forget the simple things when there is so much going on in the world. It's so easy to just turn off and to turn away from how the world is evolving. But all that is needed is just a small, committed turning to life, turning to the thankfulness, the possibility that is within all of us. We don't have to wait for someone to give us the okay or to tell us that we should be doing this or that. We can take the smallest step of gratitude right now, right here. Again, I'll give you a small chance to just take a look around, notice the colors, the flavors, the hardships, the annoyances. Just meet them with gratefulness and connect to that which surrounds us. Take a deep breath. This is going to be a shorter episode today. I have to be a little bit more attentive of Maya the cat and give her some gratitude. So to give her a little bit of attention, I think that's a good start of the day today. And I hope you will continue to take with you this feeling of gratitude throughout your day and continue to remind yourself of the possibilities and availabilities and resources that are right in front and under our feet. I would very much like to hear feedback or comments or any criticism about this podcast, as well as any information that you would think should be needed on this continued journey into exploring the roots of activism embedded in the more than human world, our natural nest. So if you want to, you're welcome to reach out to me and send me an email at martin@enliven.earth or visit my homepage enliven.earth. I hope to see you again on the next episode. Thank you for listening.